Hello and welcome. Today we have the pleasure and meeting a person whose life is increased with the diverse experience and inside Mr. Paul Bowen. Let's begin, Paul, by having you share a bit about your background and some significant event from your early life is such an introduction often provides us with valuable context to better understand your journey and perspectives.
Yes, well,
Hello,
yes. Well, I'm Paul Bowen, as you said. I'm 70.
please introduce yourself, my viewers.
Excuse me? What did you say?
Introduce yourself in my viewers.
Yes, I am Paul Bowen. I live in the United States. I am 78 years old. I have been some sort of teacher for a great deal of my life. I have a PhD in philosophy from Yale, and so I've taught philosophy a lot. And recently, I've taught high school, and and so I am married with two children. Both my children have grown up, and so I'm mostly retired. I'm actually on leave, but even when I was working, I worked part time. So. Uh, and I guess that's the main things about me.
Okay, my first question is could you share a bit about your background and how your early life experiences have shaped your interest?
Yes, well, I, as I say, I'm from the United States. My father was a professor of history, and so I guess I was bound to become an intellectual of some kind. Uh, and so I did, in fact, go to college and university, and I got a PhD in philosophy from Yale University. And my family traveled around a lot when I was young, and so I think that was very important. That I have spent a lot of time being educated, and also educating myself, and so then that was a big influence on me. My various teachers, of course, my parents have been a big influence on me, and my teachers have been a big influence on me.
Okay, my second question is as someone born in 1944, what are some significant changes over the years have left an impressions on you?
Yes, well, there are a number of changes. Uh, one change is in the economics of the United States. That when I was young, there was a very large middle class, and one person working in a family could support the entire family. And they could have a house and like two cars and have a vacation, and they were very comfortable. But then changes happened because it started with the Reagan administration, when President Ronald Reagan, um, they changed the way the economy works, and the result has been that the middle class has been going downhill, and sometimes now the man and the woman both have to work, or they have to work more than one job, and this is generally a good thing. I mean, a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing. But another thing, of course, that I noticed is computers. When I was young, the only computers were in universities or the defense establishment. Nobody had their own computer, personal computer. There was no internet, nothing like that. So this has been a tremendous change. If you wanted to get some information, you would go to a library and get books. There was no Google, there was no Wikipedia, there was no YouTube. If you wanted to hear music, you would have to go to a concert or buy records. And so that has been a tremendous change. We couldn't be doing this right now if it were not for the internet. And so, when I was a child, they had these things called pen pals. So if I wanted to write to somebody in Pakistan, they would find for me someone my age who would be a pen pal. That is, we would write letters to each other, and these letters would go by airplane back and forth. So it might be a long time before you got an answer. So what we're doing now is clearly much more efficient. Uh, so that would be another big change. Another big change was the fall of the Soviet Union. When I was a kid, there was a Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. And we were always worried that it would become an atomic war. And but then the Soviet Union collapsed, and unfortunately, it looks as though we may start entering a Cold War with China. So it will be just like it used to be, but at least for a while, it has been different. Uh, so I guess those are the three major differences.
Okay, my next question is how have your rules as a husband and father includes your perspective one life?
Well, I think, well, having a family, is a special kind of influence. It it's hard to say in a few words what the difference is, but one thing is I see things from the grown-up's point of view. I started out, I saw it from the child's point of view, and now I see it from the grown-up's point of view, and that makes me wiser, I think, in many ways. And of course, just family life has many challenges. And so I think I have met those challenges on the whole pretty well. Uh, and I don't think I made any horrible mistakes. And so I think that makes me a wiser person. And it I think that's basically it. It has made me a wiser person. I understand life better. That's the main influence, I think.
Okay, my next question is begin an autodidact. What objects or skills have your priest on your own, and how have they increased your life?
Well, yes, there are two kinds of things. One is the intellectual side. I've just taught myself a lot by reading. And so I'm glad I did this. It makes me a more educated person. And of course, I also went to school and college and university. But in addition to that, there are things that I've taught myself. And I, 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 uh, I enjoy learning. And so it's been a very good thing for my life to learn. I just like learning for its own sake. Uh, and so it enriched my life intellectually, but also I have taught myself to play the guitar and other instruments, mostly guitar. And so I can actually make music. And this is enriches my life to be able to actually make music. So those are the main things I'm teaching myself. Recently, I've been teaching myself about nutrition and exercise to try to be more healthy. And of course, I think it works. I am more healthy than I would otherwise be. So I guess that's an enrichment. So those three things are the main things.
Okay, my next question is can you tell us about your journey as an educator and what motivated you to become a teacher?
Well, in philosophy, uh, the kind of job you get often is to be a teacher of philosophy. So when I got my philosophy degree, it was very natural to get a job teaching, which I did. And so I've taught philosophy for many years. And but also I like being a teacher. I think I enjoy telling people about the things that interest me, and try to. I hope they will also be interested in these things. We will be able to share our interests. So teaching appeals to me in that way. And of course, I think it's important. I think it's important to hand down knowledge and skills to subsequent generations. I'm not going to be around forever, so it's good if other people can uh, have the skills that I have now. So that's the main thing, I think.
Okay, my next question is how does your enjoyment of music tea into your life and are there specific genres artists you're particularly fond of?
Yes, well, I have listened to many different kinds of music, both popular music and classical music, and also to some extent the music of other cultures. Uh, and uh, I'm very fond of the music that was created in Europe at the early 20th century. Uh, that would be composers like Stravinsky, Bartok, uh, Berg, and Debussy, Ravel. My favorite piece of music is The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. But I like many other kinds of music. I also, when I was younger, but still to some extent, I was a fan of rock and roll, and I listened to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead and various popular music groups like that. I don't listen to that as much as I used to, but it's good music. And uh, I think those are the main things that I like.
Okay, nice. My next question is in this repeatedly changing world, how do you balance your application for the past with your outlook on the future?
Well, I think we can learn from the past. But we do also have to change. I think computers, for example, have changed things, as I said before. And so uh, I think we can learn from the mistakes of the past. Sometimes it's difficult, but I have hopes that we can do that. And I think I think that looking at the past tells me that we are in a very dangerous situation now because we have atomic weapons and other very terrible weapons. Uh, and I look at the past and I see that every so often there's a big war. There's World War One, there's World War Two, there are other wars. And I worry because I see there's many nations in the world and they compete with each other. And this worries me because if we have a big war now, it will be very destructive. And it might even mean the end of humanity altogether. So this is looking at the past taught me that it's very easy for one of these big wars to happen because nations compete with each other. And so I think that if we are going to survive, we need to have a unified planet. We have to have just one political entity and not have lots of different nations that are competing with each other. So that is, I think, a very important way in which looking at the past has influenced my thoughts about the future.
Okay. My next question is are there specific experiences or accomplishment that you consider pivotal in shaping who you are today?
Well, I think my education was very important. And so, if you want a particular event, you could say, well, when I finally got my PhD, my advanced degree, but of course, it took many years to get that degree. And I think that was very important to me. And as we said before, my raising a family was very important. Now, my children are all grown up now, and they've gone off to different places. We don't live together anymore. But that experience of having children uh, was very important, and it seems to have worked out all right. It's hard to point to any particular events. It's a long process. Education is a long process. Having a family is a long process. Um, I can't say there are particular points where my life suddenly changed into something different.
Okay, my next question is what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind both personally and professionally?
Well, I think my children are, in a way, a legacy. I mean, of course, they should get credit for what they accomplish, but at least I didn't damage them too badly. Right. So, I mean, I think they're fairly happy, competent people, and so I think I should get some credit uh, for that, for helping them to grow and making it possible for them to be the people that they are now. Uh, and I think my students are a legacy. I mean, they have learned from me, and they will go into the world and do things. And I think many of them will do good things. And again, the credit is theirs mainly, but at least I helped them. I helped them to to get past certain obstacles and to learn certain things. Um, and I think those at present those are the two main things that will be a legacy that I will be leaving.
Okay, my next question is, if you would give your younger self or new generations one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I think that that speaking of new generations, but I would probably say something like this to my younger self also. The world needs to be changed. I mean, I think we're in a very bad way. I've already spoken about the possibility of war, but also we are damaging the biosphere. We with global warming, with species extinction, we are overusing our natural resources, and this is something that needs to change. All these things need to be changed, and I think that your generation maybe will be able to change these things. I think it's very important that these things be changed because, as I said before, we might even all humanity might die if we have a nuclear war, and the global warming could result in a huge number of deaths. People might start fighting wars just over water, and then there comes to be a shortage of water. And so I think the situation we're in now is very dangerous, and I would say I hope that your generation will be able to fix these things.
Okay, my next question is, looking ahead, what exciting project or initiative can we expect from you and girl wisdom in the near future?
Well, I don't know what girl wisdom is, so
Okay,
I can't
okay,
I can't
okay.
speak about that. No problem. I'll just talk about myself. Um, and
My my last question is, with your diverse background, what are some essential life lesson that you liked to impart your audience?
okay. Uh, and okay. Well, some of the things I think it was very important to me to accept myself more. I think when I was young, I didn't think very highly of myself, but that doesn't help. You need to accept yourself first before you can do something in the world that's constructive. So, and so I think that's very important, and I think people should educate themselves. I think everybody should be an autodidact. Of course, go to school, but also teach yourself things and always develop yourself. Learn new skills, maybe play a musical instrument or something else, whatever interests you. So follow your own interests. Don't try to force yourself to be something that doesn't fit you. But so ask yourself, what would really give you satisfaction to do, and then do those things. And so I think that's probably the most important thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Paul, for taking the time to share your remarkable journey with us, your insight into self directed learning, the valuable of family, and your position for music of in window into life values, and your wisdom about how both the past and the future in the truly inspiring. We appreciate your opinions in the share your experience and how the wishing you all the best and continuing to inspiring those around you and leaving a lasting impact. Thank you for coming.
And thank you for having me. I'm very glad. I'm grateful to you for having me. So uh, may your life be good.
Bye.
And bye bye.
Bye.